Yo, what's up, guys? How you doing? It is just before 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern on the East Coast of America, and we just wrapped up the big fight card over in Saudi Arabia. Anthony Joshua gets a second round stoppage over Francis Ngannou, very dominant. And I was watching this fight live with my wife, and she was like, "Mike, go ahead and go on live because I know you want to. I know you can't wait because she saw me tweeting. So she's putting the kids to bed tonight. Normally, like she takes one kid, I take the other kid. We tag team it. She's getting both of them tonight, putting them down. So thank you, baby. Guys, look, there's a lot to talk about. There's a bunch of stuff in boxing like that we could talk about and catch up on, but I want to just focus on what we saw tonight. Okay. I'm not a triangle theory, bro. I'm not, but and I understand timelines matter and all this stuff. There's nuance involved. You guys know that. I totally I get it. But Anthony Joshua's stock continues to rise. And I've said it for years that he is an underappreciated fighter here in the United States. He's had some rough moments. He's had some moments where he looked vulnerable, weak, and a lot of American boxing fans don't like that. But he seems to have rebounded from a lot of that, and he's been on a good active run. He's kind of doing what Joseph Parker's been doing. We'll talk about him, of course, in a minute. But staying active and just getting in the ring and just moving around. And sometimes that's the best thing you could do, particularly with a guy like him who didn't necessarily have a long, distinguished amateur career. Yes, he went to the Olympics and all that, but it was still a relatively brief amateur career. And as a pro, there wasn't a lot of development, man. They got right to it because he was such a big brand, right? He's basically been Eddie Hearn's meal ticket as a promoter, his hottest item as a promoter in his entire career so far. So to see Joshua kind of step back, he has no titles right now, but he's been very active, and his resume in the last, I'd say 24 months, even though he lost to Usyk, those two losses to Usyk, his resume has really, really looked pretty good recently because let's face it, guys, he beat Joseph Parker, I thought pretty clearly. That was a competitive fight and everything, but I believe Joseph Parker was undefeated at the time and a world champion, and Joshua beat him to take his belt, and Joseph Parker has gone on a great run lately, absolutely dominated Deontay Wilder, just completely outclassed him. A lot of people look at that and like, oh, Wilder was shot. Well, if Wilder was shot, then Parker would have knocked him out in a few rounds. I don't think Wilder was shot. I don't think Wilder shot. I think Wilder still decapitates guys like Robert Helenius and fighters on that level. Now there's rumors he's going to fight Otto Wallin. I think stands a good chance of winning that fight. I don't think Wilder's completely shot. I just think Joseph Parker is way better than him. I literally believe Deontay Wilder is that overrated. Yes, big right hand. That's it. Literally, that's it. He's the most overrated fighter this century. Yes, I'm saying it. And the reason why I say that isn't to beat up on him. It's that there were people calling him the hardest puncher in the history of boxing. Seriously, they were calling him that. They were calling him a Hall of Famer. And listen, there are still a lot of American boxing writers, first ballot, are going to vote Deontay for the Hall of Fame. He'll probably get in. But he is the most overrated fighter this century. And that is Tyson Fury's claim to fame. It's funny, he was there in the crowd tonight. That was interesting. But Anthony Joshua decapitating Francis Ngannou, a lot of people are shocked. Oh my God, this is the best performance. And Anthony Joshua looked better than he's ever looked. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He just went out there and did what any top 20 boxer should do to Francis Ngannou. Destroy him. This is no disrespect to Francis Ngannou. I've given him full credit. He has taken his boxing craft seriously. He came out and really tried to box. He actually had the humility to learn the craft a little bit and all of those things. But he still was an arrogant person thinking you could just walk over into this and succeed. And Tyson Fury didn't take him seriously. That was pretty obvious. Anthony Joshua did, and you saw the result. So listen, it doesn't matter if Francis Ngannou fights Anthony Joshua, Zhang, Parker, a shot Deontay Wilder, or Fury in a rematch, Alexander Usyk. He gets brutally stopped by any of those fighters, including Usyk. Brutally stopped. Artur Beterbiev would brutally stop Francis Ngannou. Yeah, I'm saying that without stuttering. He would. Absolutely would. I understand there'd be 100 some odd pounds difference. I'm talking skills, guys. It's a different sport. So I give Anthony Joshua credit for doing what he's supposed to do tonight, but let's not give him too much credit, okay? He basically did what Fury should have done, and he righted that wrong. So he rebalanced the universe tonight. He rebalanced the boxing martial arts universe and set things right. So props to him. Also, in the co-main, Joseph Parker ekes out a decision win over Zhilei Zhang. He was dropped in that fight, but he outboxed Zhang. He outworked him. And I think his activity and his experience, his veteran experience, showed through in this fight. And listen, let's give Parker credit. He's cut out the cocaine use and some of the partying and stuff that he was doing when he was fighting guys like Dillian White and guys like that. And he's gotten a lot more serious in the last couple of years. And when Parker is off of drugs and training seriously and healthy and eating right and all that stuff, dude, he's a top 5 heavyweight. He is right now in this division. He's a top 5 heavyweight. Name me 5 heavyweights right now that you believe beat Joseph Parker. Give me 5. You can't. You can't. So he's a top 5 guy right now. And Anthony Joshua has a fairly decisive win over him. Now, I get it. That was years ago. I understand all that. You can say Parker's better, all that. Listen, styles make fights. Anthony Joshua today still beats Joseph Parker 116, 112. Yes, it goes the distance. It's going to go all 12, but Joshua is going to win that fight off the jab, a punch that Zhang doesn't throw. He's going to win that fight off the jab, 8 rounds to 4, 9 rounds to 3. I don't care if you don't believe me. Look, a lot of American fight fans just underrate Joshua because he lost before. And there's this weird thing with American fight fans about undefeated records and guys getting knocked out, guys being stopped. Dude, especially in heavyweight boxing, it's part of the sport. Some of you need to grow the fuck up. It's just part of what happens sometimes. Let me share my screen real quick. I just want to show this tweet. I said, Joshua beats every heavyweight not named Usyk. Every heavyweight. Yes, including Fury. This wasn't anything special. This was a world-class boxer beating a guy that I would beat. Thank God Fury's embarrassing performance is out of our minds now. Okay. Now, a lot of you out there got what I was saying with this tweet, okay? But there's a few of you out there that were like, oh, Francis Ngannou would beat you. You can't beat him. You missed the point. I was talking tongue-in-cheek a little bit. Look, I give myself a good chance against Francis Ngannou. My boxing skills are better than his. Yes, I'm saying that with a straight face. He's 80 pounds heavier and way stronger and more powerful than me. I'm a cruiserweight. He's a super heavyweight. I get all that. Boxing skills-wise, I'm better than him. Yes, me, Mike, a novice boxer, I'm better than him. So that's not me putting the guy down. That's me just level setting here. It is what it is. And some of you guys took that little part of that tweet and you ran with that and you're so angry at me, you're missing the greater point. Let's give Anthony Joshua credit. He did what he was supposed to do. The moment didn't get to him. He's been in bigger moments and bigger fights. He was calm, cool, collected. wasn't over emotional, and he did what he was supposed to do against a guy that had absolutely no business even being his sparring partner. That's the truth. So, okay, hopefully Francis Ngannou is done boxing now. He can go back to MMA and make chump change and be raped by Dana White. Okay. The universe has been righted. Where are we at in the heavyweight division in boxing, real heavyweight division? Well, we still got Fury versus Usyk coming up, right, for the undisputed championship. Now, Fury was there tonight, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but the check this guy out during a broadcast in civilian attire, bros. I don't know if you guys are watching, but Fury to me looked in shape. Eye looked good, right? His eye looked good, face looked clean, and he looked to me to be slim and in shape. He is 100% taking his fight with Alexander Usyk seriously. We will see a 100% version of Tyson Fury against Alexander Usyk. A lot of you guys are calling him a shot fighter. Look, it's so evident to me now. He's not shot. He just didn't take Ngannou seriously. That's on Fury. Fury has done, listen, Fury's had several performances like that. It's not just with Ngannou. The difference with Ngannou is that he's powerful and explosive. But Fury's had performances against cruiserweights and bloated cruiserweights fighting at heavyweight that are journeymans at heavyweight earlier in his career, where he was put down, he was dropped, he was embarrassed, but still was able to beat some of those guys. This anomaly he had with Francis Ngannou, it's not the first time. He's had a few of those in his career. He's a guy that goes up and down with his performances, but he knows that he's in tough with Alexander Usyk, and he's going to be 100%. To my knowledge, there's no VADA testing for this fight. If I was Alexander Usyk's team, I would want full VADA testing. I'm going to go ahead and put it on record. Tyson Fury has used steroids in the past. We know this. He's done it. Other people in the media will cover for him and whatever. He's used steroids in the past. If I was Alexander Usyk, I would absolutely be demanding VADA testing. I don't know what's going on with that. Fury's 100% for that fight. So I'm expecting one hell of a show when those two fight in May. We'll talk about that as we get closer to it. Joseph Parker, he has had this beautiful rebirth in his career, this like second run in his career. And now he's in line to possibly face the winner between Fury and Usyk. Now, keep in mind, he's close friends with Tyson Fury. So if Fury beats Usyk, I don't see the two of them fighting. Although Fury has fought his friends before, right? He fought Chisora 5,000 times. So who knows? But Parker's in line for another big fight. Here's the question. Who does he fight? He already beat the hell out of Wilder. He's done. He just beat Zhang, who is like the hottest heavyweight coming up, right? You know, beat him. He lost to Joyce, and Joyce has subsequently lost after beating Parker. And then he fought AJ before and lost. I don't know. Maybe a rematch between Joshua and Parker makes sense in London. Maybe that's a big fight there. Maybe that could do business. Other than that, for Parker, I don't know. I honestly don't know, but he's earned a big fight. He's certainly earned a big fight. If somehow Usyk can beat Fury, then perhaps you get Usyk versus Parker, and that would be an interesting contrast of styles. I mean, maybe that could work out. We shall see. But in the meantime, dude, I love what Parker has done because he's been active. He's gotten in the ring, 4 or 5 times in the last year and a half. And he's just had this resurgence. And it's all through activity. As my boy Steve Kim says, activity matters. And I think we saw that tonight. Zhang hasn't been the most active guy. Came in at 291? Started off well in this fight and then faded late, which we've seen from him in several fights. He's 40 years old. You can't show up and be a fat ass with a gut, which he had in this fight, and fade late in the fight, or expect to close sharp late in the fight when you're a natural fighter, which he is, he's not cheating using performance enhancing drugs. So he looked the way I expected a 40-year-old out of shape guy to look in the championship rounds. And that's 100% on Zhang. This was his last chance and he blew it. So I think he's done. Obviously he'll be in another big fight here or there because there's so few heavyweights these days. But as far as competing for a title or anything like that, he blew it tonight. That's it. Let's see. Oh, I think we got a couple calls here. Yo, let's get to the phones, man. We got a couple calls. Let's get to Thad. Let's see how he did. Thad, what's up, man? How'd you do tonight with your gambling?
Well, like I was updating you, it's 5 figures. And thanks to Anthony Joshua and Madrimov. I said Madrimov was the dominant fight of the night. He destroyed him. I mean, you're getting plus 250 odds for him by knockout. But here's the stink part. And I remember earlier in the week, I messaged you. I said, they're going to cancel this fight. It got canceled. They took the odds off. And when they took the odds off, Madrimov was minus 250 straight. Okay. Put the bets back up a couple days ago. I got in pretty large at minus 400. It was minus 500 today. So they kept growing. I basically lost out on double the bet there because originally I would have been able to get minus 250. So that's like buying like, I don't know, Tesla stock at $250 a share, you know, and then you have to pay $500 a share, you know, at the end, all because of a technicality by the British Board of Boxing, which was the commission for this. I think that's just horrible, but that's just, you know, bad luck for me. But Madrimov stole the show. I said he was kind of like not a poor man's Triple G. He might be like I don't know, like the mid-level vehicle Triple G. He has a solid jab. He was pushing Kurbanov back with that jab like Triple G did to Lemieux. He made a statement tonight. And that statement was he's in his prime at 29. He has a young man style, okay? And it's not going to suit him well after the age of 32. So he's got to do his damage now. And every 154 pounder right now should be unaware. And I'm even saying Tim Tszyu. Okay. He's the guy at that division. So props to him. Crazy odds that he should have been much higher favorite. Kurbanov was kind of like one of those Russian mob outfit guys that I'm not saying he was, but the money was behind him and he was getting some bad decisions, I thought. Madrimov lit him up, saved him a beating too, because they stopped the fight a little early, but he was on his way to getting a career-ending beating. I really feel for Zhilei Zhang. Guy trains in Patterson near a hospital. You know, I cover for now and again. And the guy's a class act.
Yes.
The way I had it, I said he was up by a point at the end. I had him up 3 going into the 11th. Listen, this is pro boxing. This isn't amateur boxing. Yeah, he was sucking wind, doing nothing in those rounds, but neither was Joe Parker. Joe Parker, all the credit in the world, man. This guy was the comeback kid. Amazing what he's accomplished since that loss. But when you have even rounds and you have a guy like Parker that you think can be knocked out at any point, like there was not one point of that fight that I thought Joe Parker was safe. Against Wilder, I mean, I banked that one. That was no
free money.
In my mind.
That was free money.
Plus 400.
Yeah.
Plus 400.
That was just
okay?
free money, man.
And with this fight, the odds opened up at Zhang minus 225. Right before the fight, they dropped to minus 140. And then I texted you. I said, watch this. I'm going to hit this as soon as Zhang gets to minus 600. And I'm probably around round 5 or 6. It's going to be. Lo and behold, the odds are Zhang minus 600. I hit it hard. I hit Parker by decision at plus 700. So I hedged my bet with Zhang and more. And then I got Parker straight at plus 450. And I said in the text message, that's what's going to be. Plus 450. And I nailed it. And I called it, what did I call it? Prognostication or speculation for boxing betting. just like what you do in the stock market. And I've taken all those techniques and applied it to boxing, because you could bet in round, you could bet live, and it's the best sport to bet live. If you're watching, you could see what the plan is. And Parker was staying away the first few rounds to try not to get too damaged. Now, he got sat down and he got bloodied, but he was still in it. And at that point, he has a chance against Zhang is an 18-wheeler. I mean, diesel fueled, but he runs out of gas. He just does. At 290 pounds, what in the hell is he doing coming in that heavy? And I saw that in the weigh-in. I'm like, oh boy, not good against a mover like Parker. And
Parker can move well. That's a good way to describe him. He moved really. He moved a lot against his fight with Joshua, and it frustrated Joshua.
Very.
Yeah. So he can move well for a big guy. He's like 6'3". He's almost more of like a Usyk size heavyweight, right? Than these super heavyweights. So he moves pretty well. He's got underrated movement, I feel, Thad.
Oh, 100%, especially for the heavyweight division. Even when he was younger, his feet, he had great feet. And when he was 225 against Ruiz and all those guys, he was free to foot, getting in and out, man. He's a good fighter, and he's only 32. And that's the thing. A lot of people wrote him off. Before the Wilder fight, I said, look, this guy's going to beat him. He's only 31, 32. He's still in his prime. And he, like Vladimir Klitschko was, looked down upon at that same age. I'm like, look, this guy is priming out now. Heavyweights mature later on. He's taken damage, right? But this guy, he still has legs. And at the heavyweight division, man, he's 245 and he carries it well. And he takes a good punch. And you know what? He's locked into a rematch with Zhang. That's going to come up in like 3 months. So I don't know if they could squeeze it on the Usyk Fury card in May. Probably not. But the next, Riyadh season's over.
I wonder if they could I wonder if they could do Biev and Beeville, because that's in June, but it still might be June too 1st, soon. Though. Yeah, you're right. It's too soon.
That's a quick turnaround. I got to say July because they took. I mean, those guys were a war. That
was a brutal fight. Yeah,
it was a brutal fight, and I don't think either guy will be the same, to be quite honest. And every fight on this card was main event quality right from the start of Kevin Lerena versus Hooney. And I was back in Lerena. I thought he had a good chance with his mom passing. That was crazy. This guy stepped in and he's like, I'm still going to fight. Yeah, you could shale out those rounds of Hooney, but I tell you, Lerena, he had him out in that last round. He just didn't press. Sometimes guys, they just aren't finishers. And just like in sales, there's just sometimes these guys do all the right thing, but they can't close. They're not closers. They don't ask for the business and they don't demand the business. Kevin Lerena, he's not a closer. And that's why he's on the level he is. But all credit to Hooney. He got the decision. Close fight. Every fight was close, except for the Chamberlain and Madrimov fights. But this was solid. And I wanted to say something about Turki Al-Sheikh. I want to nominate him honorary inductee to the International Boxing Hall of Fame in Canastota. This guy's putting up his own credit to put these fights on that would never get made. And we've had so far amazing cards. And this was like Lollapalooza for me. Okay. I got up at 7 a.m. I went to the casino, had a couple friends meet me. We got front row seats in the sports book. We did it up, Irish car bombs to start the day.
Nice.
I was coffeeing it up. I switched to decaf. I was too hyped. And it was just a great experience. And everyone appreciated it. There were so many people there for MMA.
Yeah.
And I got to say this about MMA fans, man. They're sore losers, and they're very, how could I say,
dumb?
There's a lack of a better term, hot-tempered, okay?
Okay, all right.
I'm like, guys, and I don't tell people what to do, but I'm like a guy I knew, he's like $500, and I'm putting on the guy. Like, don't do it, man. Don't do it. Just give me $50 to make you walk away. I'm going to carry you away, because I knew the guy. He got all mad. He's like, I'll fight you right now. I'll fight you. I'm like,
Jeez.
buddy, don't do it. I'm like, come on. This is crazy. You don't understand.
I was thinking about this. How many look, I respect the hell out of MMA fighters, I've trained with some of them. They're cardio beasts, but their fans are so fucking stupid. How many times will they be duped by these matchups and just give free money to boxing fans? The transfer of wealth on these events is 7, sometimes 8 figures from boxing fans to bookies. I'm sorry, MMA fans to bookies to boxing fans. They just give free money.
And that's the truth, Mike. And I got to give a shout out to my bank. I told you about this on Tuesday. It was like a bank holiday. I asked for my request. It wasn't bad. I've had more withdrawals, but they wouldn't. They said we can't promise you all the money that you requested. I'm like, what, in cash? I'm like, come on, I need this for this week. I'm like, this is huge. And it wasn't crazy. It wasn't Mayweather type money, but I needed it for the live casino. Online, I already had that locked in.
But so you made
get the Madrim up.
You made 5 figures tonight?
Oh yeah.
Hey,
yeah. I could have made a lot more.
It was a good day for you, man. And I know who paid your tab tonight. Those MMA fans, dude. Those guys they're awesome. MMA fans, stick around. Keep betting on these fucking fights, man, because you're just giving free money to people. It's amazing.
And I wish I could do that, but I can't trust people to pay up when it's over. I'd have to get an escrow account for these guys. And
you have to get some of my friends to collect for you. You have to get some of my cousins to collect for you. Yeah.
Oh, I used to do that back in the day. My back's shot now, man.
Yeah,
I can't do it. But,
I got some stories too, my friend.
I tell you. But listen, man, these MMA guys, they just don't understand. And the line, it started off AJ minus 500. That's when I started getting in on it. And it crawled all the way down to minus 275. And right before the fight, I'm like, holy shit, I should put another few K on this. I did, very irresponsibly online. And it was just, I just couldn't believe he got him out early. I thought AJ, listen, my viewpoint was AJ was going to be careful. He was going to carry him maybe to the 6th round and then start unleashing. And if he got there, and if he couldn't finish him after 6, 7, 8, then he'd probably just coast. And because this guy's Nigerian, you know how they have a nice relationship, and I don't think he wanted to embarrass him, but I got to tip my hat to AJ. Holy moly. This guy, like you said, balanced the force and more. He shut this guy out. It was just a butchering. It was, like they said in Rocky 2, a plain old butchering. It's just what it was. So we boxing fans, we know what the sport is about. It was an anomaly that Tyson Fury came in mentally unprepared. Physically, he's there, but he's not there. And I got in some bets on Usyk because I figured if AJ does blow him away, Usyk's probably going to be a favorite now over Fury because it's pretty much a pick 'em. Slightly favoring Fury, minus 125. I don't see that holding up. I think Usyk's going to go up to about minus 150 by the time the fight rolls around. I'm shocked, to be quite honest. Like Fury, he just seems done to me. He just seems, even when Ngannou was just verbally berating him, saying, "You better be careful, boy. I will beat you twice on Sunday." Saying this to a guy 6'7", 290 pounds. That's pretty ballsy. And Fury took it. He didn't mouth off. His dad didn't mouth off. Nobody did. But AJ just proved, what a prime, real world-class fighter can do, when it's Marquise at Queensberry rules.
Yes.
So, with that being said, before I let you go, Mike, the Nick Ball fight, I was pretty high in Ball, and, you could shade that fight to him. I thought he did win it at the end. I really did. And he just couldn't keep Vargas down. I thought he would knock him out late, and he just couldn't keep that guy down. Credit to Vargas staying up. I just don't think Vargas won the fight. And, other than that, these were all minus 400 favorites or less. So you had every fight competitive. And that's why Turki Al-Sheikh deserves a taste of the Boxing Hall of Fame. Okay? For what he's doing for the sport, we should all be paying homage. I would never call a man His Excellency in America. Never. But you know what I would? I would for him. I would for him because of boxing and what he's doing for the sport, what he's doing for us fans. I respect the hell out of that guy. And so should all of us, because he's given us something that would never have happened. You know, we don't have to thank Al Heyman. We need to thank Turkey Al-Sheikh. Okay, Mike?
All right.
So you guys enjoy the rest of the night.
Enjoy your winnings, Thad. Enjoy your winnings, bro.
Yeah, it's going to the IRS probably, Mike.
All right.
All right.
All right, man.
Take care, man.
You too. All right, we're going to get to some more calls, but let me get to a couple super chats here. We got one from Trent Nonpareil. Thank you so much, Trent. He says, Madrimov versus Ennis at 154. Who you got, Mike? It says Turkey is only worth $5 million. Mohammed bin Salman and others must put up the money. Turk is the face. All right, so Madrimov versus Ennis. Look, on paper, Ennis looks good in that fight, that matchup, right? But again, to quote my boy Steve Kim, activity matters. Ennis has fought, I think he fought once last year. He might have fought twice, but the second fight I want to say was in May or June, something like, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but it's well over half a year since he's fought, right? And Madrimov just had a good performance tonight. If they were to fight, let's say 3-4 months from now, I favor Madrimov just based off activity. Guys, activity matters, particularly when you have a style like Ennis, which relies on boxing craft and reflexes and things like that. Man, you got to be sharp. And if he gives up the first 3-4 rounds to Madrimov, he's working out of a hole. He's digging himself out of a hole in that fight. And it's possible, obviously, he could win it, but I don't think he has the power to hurt Madrimov. And Madrimov just has been active. I'd favor Madrimov in that fight right now. I would. Sam A with a super chat. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it, brother. Good to hear from you. He says, so much for the 4-ounce gloves. Ngannou has the best chin in MMA and just got put in a mini coma by 10-ounce glove by a real fighter. Enough. Yeah, that's such an outstanding point, Sam. I hear from my friends who are big MMA fans all the time, the 4-ounce gloves, it's more like a street fight. These guys are real fighters. They just don't understand. You could have 18-ounce gloves on. If Anthony Joshua had 30-ounce gloves on tonight, he would have knocked out Frances Ngannou. People don't it's not about the glove size. It's about skills. And they're never going to get it, Sam. You get it. Hopefully you bet the right way tonight. And if you guys, anyone on this call, if you bet for Ngannou, holy shit. Why are you watching my show? Because you haven't learned anything about how this sport works. By the way, we have Jake Paul and Mike Tyson coming up. You guys know which way you should bet on that one, right? It's not the way you think off the top of your head. There's a certain way to bet that fight, and if you're smart, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's get Nacho. Nacho's on the line. Nacho, what's up, brother?
Hey, Mike, what's going on? This was a really fun card to watch today, especially for me being out here on Pacific time.
Mm-hmm.
Man, going to work and watching it at work was awesome.
Yeah, dude.
So I was pretty happy about that. Like, I got to see practically the whole card today. Just really quick, not to disparage him or say anything bad about him, but Thad is completely off on two of his points. First one being, there's no way Zhang won that fight. I had Parker winning that fight 115-111. Outside of the 2 rounds where he put Parker on his ass, there's really not many more rounds you can give him based on the fact that Parker was just giving him movement and troubling him all night. And he was landing cleaner shots and basically befuddling him with his feints and his movement. So this idea that Thad had Zhang up by 1 point going into the last round, that's crazy to me. That just sounds like he was biased in favor of Zhang wanting to win that fight. And I told a bunch of people to bet on this fight, and I bet myself for this fight, Mike. When I saw Zhang weigh in at 291, I said, "Oh, Parker's got this. There's no fucking way Zhang was going to win that fight." he needed to come in at least 265 to 270 to have a shot. And the fact that he came in at 292, I knew he was cooked, and it showed in the fight. He had a blubber gut. He looked like what's it called, butterbean in there.
He did have a gut, bro. He had a gut in there, man.
Yeah, he had a gut.
Mm.
So it was crazy. Like the fact that people were thinking Zhang was in, and I give Zhang credit. The fact that he was still able to put a guy in shape and like at his very best on his ass 2 different times, he should look at that as like, if only I was in better shape, I probably beat this guy.
Absolutely.
So he can only be kicking himself. He can only be kicking himself in the ass for that. So good win for Parker, though. I'm happy for him. A lot of people wrote him off after the Joyce fight, and now in a year and a half, he's been resurrected.
Dude, I did.
So
I fully admit, I thought he was done, and I have to come back to eat my words, man. He's a top 5 heavyweight right now.
Yeah. Do you think that rematch happens, Mike? Because Parker said there's a clause. Do you think Zhang enforces it?
I think so. I think Zhang is going to get in better shape and be lighter. Yeah, I think they're going to rematch this. I forgot to mention that earlier in the show, but yeah, there's a rematch clause, and I do think Zhang will take it, and I expect him to be 270s, 280s in the rematch this summer. I do.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was kind of wondering if you thought he would take it. I wasn't sure if he would, to be honest. But yeah, he might. He might have enough fire to come back from this loss and want to avenge the loss for sure. With the other point he made about Ball and Vargas, same thing, Mike. There's no way that Ball was winning that fight. I think Ball got some home cooking from those judges because it was a Queensberry show, and he is a Queensberry fighter. There's no way he won that fight. I think Vargas got the draw, but in reality, he got fucking shafted by the judges.
Even with the knockdowns,
pretty clearly.
Even with the knockdowns, you had Vargas. Yeah.
I still had Vargas winning that fight.
Okay.
Just the same way that Parker beat Zhang, I had Vargas winning that fight too.
Okay.
I was surprised that that judge that scored it 118-110, she is fucking crazy. There's no way
that
Ball won 10 rounds.
I gotta look at that.
That's ridiculous.
That score was pretty bad.
Yeah, there is no way that he won 10 rounds. That is criminal. The fact that they actually had the audacity to score that way, that's ridiculous. But yeah, I'm very shocked that Vargas got the shaft, but he was the road guy, and unfortunately, he got the shaft. But at least he keeps the belt, and he.
I'm just looking it up. It's a guy, Jun Bai Lim from South Korea.
Oh, okay.
Jun Bai Lim.
Someone said she, so I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
My fault.
That's a terrible score. That's just a terrible
that's
score.
Criminal.
Yeah.
Ball did not win 10 rounds. I'm sorry. That is insane. And then with the other fights, I'm so glad Joshua starched Ngannou. Now we can stop with this whole, MMA guys can compete in boxing. No, they fucking can't. And tonight was 100% proof that even a guy like Ngannou, who's a specimen, that guy cannot compete in boxing. If they really thought he can compete in boxing, they would have had that guy fighting after the Fury loss. He would have been fighting guys to, build on his skills and work on his game. Instead, he sat on his ass and basically took another payday to get knocked the fuck out. Yeah, he cashed out.
That's why I say I would.
And you're never going to see him in a boxing ring.
I spar guys that have better skills than him. I'm just keeping it real. I'm not trying to disrespect the guy. It just is what it is. He's a boxing novice, and so am I. But I spar with guys who are professional fighters who have better skills than Ngannou. It's just the truth. And hopefully now, people we've had that level set, and people understand these are two different sports, and you can't just MMA, like UFC, Dana White, they do such a good job of marketing to their casual fan base. They think those guys could beat up 5 boxers like in one night. They honestly believe that. They really, really do. Hopefully now, they've been brought down to earth just a little bit. But you know what, Nacho? They're going to buy into the next one. because they're going to do this again and just make more free
Oh
money.
no, for sure,
Why not?
for sure. And as a boxing fan, I welcome it.
Hell
Keep
yeah.
sending MMA guys who think they can box. Hey, that's better for us boxing fans because you're just going to keep watching these dudes take L after L after L.
Yep.
There's no way that these dudes can compete in boxing. So, hey, that's better for us as boxing fans. With the Madrimov-Kubranov fight, yeah, Mike, I had seen footage of Kubranov, and then I seen his box rec, like how he beat certain guys. But yeah, there was these rumors floating around that Kubranov got a lot of home cooking in a lot of those wins that he had recently, like against Patrick Teixeira and against Liam Smith, and I forgot who the other guy was that he beat recently, but it seemed like he was getting a lot of home cooking to get those victories. So his ledger looked semi-suspicious going into the fight. And having seen Madrimov fight, and I thought he was just a better operator as far as the level of competition, I picked Madrimov to win that fight, and I'm glad I did because, yeah, he proved me right. Kubramov was not on his level at all, and he got shown up tonight for sure. Like that said, I think they were smart. They stopped it when they did because if they would have let that fight continue, Kubramov probably gets his prime taken away if he let that fight continue. So, you know, they did a great service for him to stop that fight when they did, so that way he can continue his career. And then I just wanted to say one last thing, Mike, before I, because I'm sure there might be somebody else calling. These dudes at DAZN, Amazon, whoever, Top Rank, they need to stop dragging these fucking cards out.
Yeah.
This is insane that we are being subjected to 30 to 40 minutes in between fights as boxing fans. That is ridiculous. Like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, if you really want to kill the momentum in a sport, literally stall the fuck in between every fight you can to drag it the fuck out. Like this card by DAZN, Mike, from start to finish, it was almost an 8-hour card. That's including the undercards that weren't shown. That is insane.
Too much.
That's too much. At most, this show should have been done in 4 hours. Max.
I completely agree.
They literally just dragged it the fuck out. And if these guys don't get on the ball about not dragging shows out, eventually people are not going to be paying attention, Mike. So that was my final point, Mike. I'm sure you got somebody else. It was good to talk to you again.
Yeah, good to hear from you, Nacho. Good to hear from you, man. Have a great weekend, brother.
All right, you too, man.
All right, peace. All right, there he goes. Great call. Let's see. I want to, real quick, to Nacho's point, I 100% agree, and this is something that I've talked about. Like, I love that with these streaming platforms now, you get to see the entire card. But I've been to, it's probably over 1,000 fight cards by now, if you count amateur and the World Series of Boxing, which is kind of in between amateur and pro, and then all the pro fights I've been to. It's literally probably 1,000 fights, seriously. And then if you look at what I've watched on TV and stuff, you're talking thousands of fights, okay? There is no reason why a fight card should be more than 4 hours. And I've done live commentary for dozens of fight cards, particularly since I moved here in Atlanta, all around the Southeast in different states. I've worked on a lot of different club shows and done the commentary for those club shows. It's the side gig that I do here. And I get regular work doing that. And I can't tell you guys how many, there's some club shows that linger on for 6-7 hours. And I'm like, oh my God. And then there's some club shows that are like 3.5, 4 hours, and it's tight. And those are so much better. And I think about it, and I'm like, the average NFL game is probably 3 hours? The average Major League Baseball game, maybe you're talking 3 hours. So if that's what the average football fan or baseball fan is watching, and for you guys that watch soccer, we call it soccer in America, but football internationally, I think it's the same thing, right? It's about 3 hours or so. That's what we should get with these boxing cards. You should be able to cram these fights in within 4 hours or less, I think the show should flow better. And no one cares about all the vignettes and all this stuff. No one cares. And if you're watching a pay-per-view, which is what we had tonight, there shouldn't be no commercials. There should be no vignettes. Just show the damn fights. If I'm paying a premium, just get to the fights and knock it out in about 3 to 4 hours. That's the pace. That's where we should be with this. I think in the 21st century, that's the way to go. If your card's lingering on for 7 or 8 hours, that's just insane. Like it's just too much. Okay. Trent Nonprio with another super chat. Thank you so much, Trent. He said, HBO actor, Olympic level gymnast, Georgia State boxing champ, Juana Walton was the youngest athlete signed by Jordan Brand. His second pro fight was a draw. I saw that, Trent. I know the guy who put on that card. And he's a local promoter who does a lot of shows around here. And a lot of people, I just looked, I didn't see the fight, but he had that kid has a lot of hype around him. And I was just looking at the comments from some of the posts I saw, and the opinion was divided whether he lost that fight or it was a draw. Some people thought he won, but I saw a lot of people that thought maybe he lost that fight. And a lot of people were saying that the moment got to him. Maybe it was a little too much too soon. I don't know. But when you overhype some of these dudes so early on, I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, let's jump back to the phones. I think we got a call from Canada. Let's take this real quick. Let's jump to, I think this is Chad. Chad, is that you, my brother?
Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Nice. Yeah, great to see you on a live, man, after the fight. I was really happy to see that. And yeah, I kind of missing your show over the last couple of weeks, man. Your point of view and your approach, it's definitely missed sometimes. Not to make you feel anxious about doing more shows or anything. I think what you've been doing, actually, Mike, is perfect. Like, it's great that you're checking in and we're getting your takes and stuff. So it's I love the frequency right now. I think is perfect.
Thank you.
But anyway, yeah, no problem, man. I won't take up too much time because I know people probably want to call, right? But I agree with you guys about the length of the show tonight. And I was watching with my sons, and we were talking about how efficient like amateur shows are.
Yes.
We've been to shows and tournaments where there's such a need for efficiency that, like, as soon as the fight's done, like, they've got the next two fighters coming into the ring. It's
That's
like,
what they're waiting
like
by.
that.
They're waiting by the ring. They're literally right by the ring. Yeah.
It obviously, like, these pros aren't going to be doing that. But the point is they could be a lot more efficient if they really wanted. I understand if we get a second or third round KO, they're going to have to extend things a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they can't just go, AJ, you're on early. Let's go.
Right.
That's not going to work, right? But yeah, it's way too long, man. It's like we have to dedicate percentages of our life to watch boxing. It's ridiculous. And I feel like some of the stuff the networks have been doing lately, in spite of like the way the things have been, like with Showtime dropping out, and there's like all this uncertainty, and like the Top Rank card was doing some weird like split screen stuff. I don't know, man. I just feel like sometimes they're so out of touch with the fans. It's like no wonder they fail,
Yeah.
But anyways, about tonight though, Nacho, man, you're my brother in boxing, but I disagree with you, my friend. Like, Nick Ball definitely won that fight. And Nick Ball's big mistake that I saw was too slow to impose what he wanted to do. It just, like, he let too many rounds go. Like, Vargas was keeping him off, keeping him away. But I didn't feel Vargas really got anything really started against Ball. Ball was so persistent. Like, he just kept coming and coming. And it's this, like, really great seek and destroy style they have him working in. And when he finally connected in the seventh, holy crap, man. I mean, the way he was able to run combinations and time Vargas was really great. I was impressed with some of Ball's work tonight, man. He's a really good fighter. When he's able to get off and start working his fight, you're in trouble. And his size got nothing to do with it. He's completely learned to use his height and time the distance and everything. I was really impressed with him, and I had it basically 6-6, and with the knockdowns, I gave it to Ball.
Okay.
But I'm looking forward to see more from him, and I hope that this isn't like something new from Vargas, like where Vargas is like on a downstroke or anything, because I like Vargas a lot. I thought the Oshaki Foster fight, even though he lost, he gave some good looks in that fight. I like his double jab. I think he's a really great and rugged fighter in there. And for a Mexican, he employs a lot of different tactics in there. He's a good fighter, man. He's a real good fighter. But I just feel like tonight was like kind of like passing of the torch as far as I saw it. Ball just showed something better. And to me, like after that 7th round, Vargas just didn't look the same. He didn't look the same. The energy wasn't the same. He'd find it for a little bit, but just didn't look the same to me. I don't know. What do you think, Mike? How did you see that one?
Yeah, well, I've had a few people ask me that. I actually missed the first few rounds. I was feeding Jackie dinner, so I missed it. So, but yes, from what I saw, I thought Ball closed the show better. But I didn't see the first few rounds, so I honestly can't say. I just can't.
Fair enough. Yeah, and then I was. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was rooting for Zhang, just in the sense that I like seeing Zhang win, and I like the trajectory he's been on, and I just wanted to see him go all the way and be able to maybe challenge for a belt. Like, but Parker, man, I mean, you got to hand it to him. Like after he got clipped early, like man, he really rallied back. Like,
yeah,
fucking, he's a tough guy, man, and he was throwing some great work, real great speed. Yeah, I thought he did really well tonight, and I feel like Zhang missed some opportunities early because Parker really wasn't moving his head. He really had his head on the line, like for the first part of the fight. And I don't know if Zhang just couldn't time him or what, but I knew that left was coming right down the center, man. I knew it. Mm-hmm. We were talking about it. We're like, look, like Parker's not even moving his head, and sure enough, bam. But he started getting some better upper body movement and head movement more throughout the fight, enough to, basically prevent Zhang from getting off some more work, I guess. But yeah, I like that fight. A couple of rounds they took off, which was kind of boring, but overall, I thought it was a kind of interesting result. And then the main event was just crazy, man. It was just great. I mean, it's like classic AJ, and I love how he just strutted away from it, right?
Yeah, no emotion.
Yeah. He's just like he knew that was coming. Like he did look pretty dialed in when they had the camera on him early. I'm not gonna lie, man. He looked like he was in a trance of focus. Mm-hmm. But I don't blame him either. Like it's gotta be awkward having a camera stuck in your face too, right? Like they leave it on them for like 30 seconds to a minute. It's kind of weird, but yeah. So hats off to those guys for being able to like focus through that and get to the ring, you know. But anyway, Mike, I'm gonna let you go, man. And it's great to come on here and scream into the void for a little bit. And hope to see you back on soon, man.
Thank you so much, Chad. Have a great weekend, brother. All right, there he goes. From Ontario, Canada. All right, let me get a couple of super chats. So go back to the phones. As far as coming back on again, I don't know when I'll be able to come back on. Tomorrow, me and my wife are going to a wedding. So a couple of friends of ours are getting married, and it's the first time I'm going to put on a suit, and my wife will put on a dress in basically a year and a half. It's the first time we have left the house to do anything like that in literally a year and a half. So we're very much looking forward to it. Anyway, that's what we got going on this weekend. Super chat from Beast LFC. Thank you so much. He says, Fury must be pissed. Question is, will this motivate Fury to do better against Usyk, or will it throw him off mentally? Great question, Beast. I personally, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, I think it's going to motivate him. I think he realizes that Usyk is his toughest opponent since Klitschko, and I am going to trust and believe that he's not going to go back to the steroids and do all that stuff that he was doing back then, and he's going to keep it clean. But I think he's just going to get in immaculate shape and be the absolute best he can be against Usyk. I expect a 100% version of Tyson Fury against Usyk. Sam with another super chat. Thank you so much, Sam. He says, Ngannou did not belong, but how damn good is Alexander Usyk to not be touched by that monster, Anthony Joshua, in 2 fights? Just a special guy. Sam, you bring up a fantastic point. Usyk's wins over Joshua are aging like fine wine. And actually, some of his other wins are starting to age better and better and better. The guy's resume, you think about it, like his win over Michael Hunter was really overlooked at the time. And what Hunter has got, not that Hunter has gone on to win a heavyweight title, but he's gone on to compete at a fairly high level at heavyweight. Even a win like that has aged well for Usyk. But these wins over Joshua, when you saw what Joshua can do, I mean, he's an explosive puncher. People forget that. That's why I always favor Joshua over Wilder, and I even favor Joshua over Fury. It comes down to styles, and he fights behind that jab and sets things up. When he's on, he's a damn good heavyweight. He really, really is. He's got flaws. You can get to him mentally. You can crack him. You know, he's not impervious to being knocked down and all that. I get it. But he's a damn good heavyweight. For Usyk to beat him twice the way he did, Usyk's special, man. If Usyk can beat Tyson Fury, guys, we're going to be having a different conversation about that man. A real different conversation. He's already a first ballot Hall of Famer. If he beats Fury, we're having a different conversation about that guy. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's keep these quick, guys. Let's get a couple more quick ones, okay? Let's go to 631 Brentwood, New York. What's up? You're on the show.
Hey, Mike from New York.
Ooh, I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, got you now.
Hello? Okay.
Yeah, just Keith?
This is Keith.
What's up,
from
Keith?
New York, live in California. Congratulations to you and the family on all the growth and everything.
Thank you.
I hope you guys are doing well. It's been a while. Yeah, I'll be pretty quick. I only saw the co-main and the main event, kind of like the aforementioned issues with boxing dragging along the card. It's been working and stuff. I thought going into the final round, I thought they might give it to Zhang just because of politics, that there's a lot of upside with him and the Chinese market. But I think Parker deserved the win, and he did. And, you know, he showed a lot of heart. Kind of like what you said to Joshua's win over Parker aged very well. Parker kind of rejuvenated himself, and I didn't even know that Parker was 32 years old. He's still very young. So, I mean, if he takes care of himself, he can have continue having a nice career. As far as Joshua and Ngannou, I expected it to go a little bit longer, but Joshua kind of righted the ship in that sense. You know, knocking Ngannou out and cleaning up Fury's mess. And I know we'll still get these crossover fights, but, you know, thank God for sports watching the Saudis are doing, because they're giving these great fights and paying big money for them, so we're finally getting them. So in regards to the UFC, I will say this as a boxing fan: the UFC does put on a superior product. People see the fights that they want to see, and they get them. Whereas boxing, you have to hope and pray. And now that we have the Saudis putting a big money, we get to see the fights that. We get to see better fights.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that all the time.
Oh, okay.
I hear that all the time, Keith, that UFC puts up a better product and their fans get the fights that they want to see. Here's my thing. If Turkey Al-Sheikh can keep putting on these cards, great. You know, it's like we're getting fun cards. Like everything he's put on has been fun. And Thad talked about earlier, every fight on this card, the highest, I think, odds were minus 400. Compare that to this PBC show coming up later this month between Zoo and Thurman, and look at some of those odds. That's the issue with boxing, is it's so many of these fights, the odds are crazy, man. Like you know who's going to win. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it's night and day, and like just the PBC and Amazon, the whole schedule showing that, and that there are no PBC doesn't really haven't announced I don't even think they announced a 6-month schedule yet with Amazon, so that's telling that Amazon's not dumping money. They're learning from Showtime's mistake. They're not dumping money into PBC or putting money up front for PBC to take and overpay their fighters. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, it's night and day. Real quick comment on Usyk Fury. I mean, I think everyone is in agreement that Fury's taking Usyk seriously. One, he's a lot leaner. Fury is in better shape. And two, I don't know if you saw, but it was a few months ago. I think before the Ngannou fight, Fury and Usyk, like, they were at a hotel or something. They just greeted each other, and Usyk picked up Fury. He grabbed him and he picked him up and he put him down, kind of with ease. And I think he did that on purpose. He got inside Fury's head, and he kind of instilled the idea that just because you're bigger than me, you have the size, doesn't mean I can't pick you up and do what I want with you too. So I think that kind of woke Tyson Fury up a little bit, and is getting him to be 100% for that fight.
I didn't see that, but yeah, that's pretty cool if Usyk could do that, because Fury is a massive man. I mean, just a huge person. So
yeah. And the last point, kind of going to European fighters like the Usyks, Lomachenkos of the world, and even like Josh Taylor. I think their managers or their teams kind of need to, I don't know, go into like get a 101 on American boxing business, because, for example, well, Fury is an American, but Fury has been dictating the terms of this fight up until recently. Now, until the Saudi stepped in. By like when Lomachenko fought Devin Haney, which I like, probably many other people who watch the show thought that Lomachenko deserved the nod. He just gave away so much as far as giving Devin Haney the ability to weigh in earlier, rehydrate. He did the same thing with Teofimo Lopez. Josh Taylor, his trainer, was telling them, which ironically he was correct, that you're ahead on the fight, you're ahead on the fight, you're ahead on the card. I don't know I just feel like some of these trainers and managers that are just not privy, or they're either not privy or just they don't want to admit it, that they need to get better schooled in American boxing and learn how to kind of roll the punches or just navigate better, because they're not doing their fighters a disservice. I think Lomachenko, he made his hit at the end of the day. He's been giving away too much with like these big fights, like the Teofimo Lopez fight and the Devin Haney fight. And personally, I know that he's older, but he should just drop down to 130. He'll have a much, 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 much better shot at becoming undisputed there. Just because, yes, he's extremely skilled, but he's fighting guys like a Devin Haney who comes in 20, 30 pounds heavier on fight night, and that's going to offset his skill advantage as well, too. So, just curious to see what your thoughts on that.
Completely agree with you, and I've been saying it for a while. If Lomachenko shut it off 5 pounds, and he could make 130 right now, he could clean up that division in about 12 to 18 months and be undisputed. But there's more money at lightweight. There's bigger fights. But I agree with you. I mean, you think about this, man. Him fighting Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, both of those guys will be fighting as welterweights soon. He basically fought 2 welterweights. Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, he fought a junior middleweight when he fought Haney. I mean, realistically, Haney was 165 pounds probably on that night. So, yeah. And then regarding going back to Zoo and Parker, I mean, Zoo kind of just he left it in the gym. He probably didn't train hard enough. He was heavy, and if I'm Parker going into the rematch, I'm going to the body more with Zoo, because regardless of Zoo's weight, he still has stamina issues.
You mean Zhang?
Yeah, Zhang. Zhang. He still has stamina issues, and Parker could maybe get him out of there if he dedicates a good 4 to 5 rounds to the body as well, because Zhang will get exhausted.
That'd be a statement, bro. That'd be a big statement if he could get a big man like that out of there. That'd be huge.
Yeah. But, all right, Mike. Well, I appreciate the time. God bless you, and thanks for jumping on live. I'm glad I was able to catch you.
Thank you so much, Keith. Have a great weekend, brother.
You too. All right, bye.
All right, there he goes. What I want to show real quick. I want to get a couple more calls, and then we're gonna wrap it up, guys. But I wanted to show this tweet just because I know it's going to trigger people. And I love to do that. I posted on X, how well has Anthony Joshua's win over Joseph Parker aged in recent times? And some of you really thought Deontay Wilder would beat him. You all cracked me up. And I posted a couple photos of Parker just landing some hard shots on Zhang. And the point of that tweet is, again, I'm not trying to be a triangle theory bro or any of that, but let's do some math. Okay. Joshua beat Parker, who beat Zhang, who beat Joyce, who beat Parker, right? So like you could just start to do this deductive math, and then Parker just literally, like I talked about earlier, he didn't just beat Wilder. It's not like he just scored like a highlight reel knockout. He outclassed him over 12 rounds. Even though he beat Zhang tonight, he didn't outclass him. He barely eked it out, right? He completely outclassed Deontay Wilder. So it just puts things, like it level sets. Maybe that's going to be the theme of this show, the level sets episode. Because I just feel like things are getting leveled out. And it's like last year with Crawford Spence. Errol Spence was like in the top 3 of pound for pound lists out there. It was literally like Bud was up there and Spence was up there right in the top 3 or 4. I thought that was insane. I think Bud belonged there, but not Spence. When they fought, you saw that I was right. My instincts on that were correct. And I know I wasn't alone in that opinion, but I'm just saying levels were set, right? And now we know where to rate Spence. We know where to rate Crawford. They're 2 different guys. So we're getting a little, for much of this generation, we kind of had 2 factions of the heavyweight universe. We had the American faction, which ran with the WBC, Deontay Wilder, and then they brought in Tyson Fury through Top Rank. And Wilder's people thought that was, an easy thing for them to get the lineal title. It was a cherry pick gone wrong. So you've had like the Wilder Fury thing over here. Even though Fury's not American, he was brought in and fought in America, right? And so you had that faction. And then over on the other side, you had Anthony Joshua fighting the Joseph Parkers, the Dillian Whites, like all those guys, and collecting all the belts. And then Usyk came up in that side as well. So it was Joshua, then Usyk. So those have been the 2 factions. And now, finally, in the mid-2020s, some of these guys are starting to fight each other. And you're seeing a little bit of crossover. And now that you're seeing the crossover, you're seeing which side was better. I mean, you're seeing which side of those 2 factions is the better, more dominant, which one has the better fighters. It just is what it is, guys. And so the universe is being balanced out. And in the end, truth always wins out, especially when these guys finally get in the ring and fight each other. So I'm glad it's finally happening, man. Okay. Let's get a couple more quick. We got a couple calls here from the UK, and I want to get you guys from the UK to get your thoughts on, obviously big win tonight for Joshua. So let's get your thoughts real quick, and we'll wrap this up. All right. Let's go to 783 in the UK. You're on the show.
Yeah, hello, Mike. How's it going?
What's up, Hamed? How you doing, man?
Yeah, Mike, can I touch on a couple of stuff? Because I've been on the line for like 50, I think, minutes. So there was a couple of stuff I did want to touch on, like, if you don't mind. But one thing I did want to say, I was at AJ Parker, even though that was like 6-7 years ago. I thought AJ won that fight, but that was not like a dominant victory, like in terms of what Joyce did to Parker. I know Styles big fights, but I thought AJ won that fight, but like that was, I thought, a competitive fight. Like AJ, I think they came on strong in the second half and then just outboxed Parker. But even if you had a 9-3 or 8-4, whatever it was, I still think that was a competitive fight, and I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch. But one thing with AJ is I will give him credit, like he's very consistent and he's doing his job knocking these guys out. But I think he's been matched up well as well, because Parker's last two opponents were Zhang and before that was Wilder. If AJ was to fight those guys at that time, I think a lot of people would probably have picked Wilder and Zhang. So in comparison to the Ngannou and Walid, I think those were very good performances, but I don't know if I was saying AJ beats Usyk in the third fight. Like I'm seeing some people saying that he blows through Fury. I still need to see him fight guys like Kyrgios, Joseph Parker maybe in a rematch, or even maybe Dillian White. I know he's got a rap sheet and he's already knocked him out and he's failed drug tests. But like the guys AJ is beating at the moment, the way he's beating them is impressive. Like the guy with 2 rounds and Walid was very impressive, but I think the level of competition that Parker's been fighting recently has been, to me, more impressive. I don't know what you think about that, but even the fact that he fought Joyce when Joyce was undefeated, I know he ended up getting knocked out, but I think Parker and AJ would be a very good rematch, even if it's not for a title. But if AJ can't fight the Fury Usyk winner, I wouldn't mind seeing him and Parker fight again. I know that first fight was not a great fight, but would you mind seeing that fight again? Because I'd like to see how it plays out in a rematch.
Yeah, I'm with you, Hamed. I look at both guys and like where they can go at this stage in their career and who to fight. Right now, we know we're going to get the undisputed between Fury and Usyk, right? So that's the top level. I'd personally, I'd welcome a rematch between AJ and Parker, and do it back there in Saudi Arabia. Let His Excellency put it on and do a show. And but before we can get that, we have to get the rematch between Zhang and Parker. But yeah, I'd absolutely welcome that. And honestly, at this stage of their careers, I think it'd be a different fight than the first fight was, and it'd be more entertaining.
Yeah, and AJ's got a chance of stopping him, but vice versa. I think Parker has a chance of maybe unboxing him and winning as well. Yeah, I don't know what Sad was watching, but I think Parker won that fight. I didn't miss the first couple of rounds because of my stream kept going, but to me it seemed like Zhang faded outside the knockdown rounds. I thought he got outboxed, and I did pick Parker. Me and Nacho, I think, were one of the few people that picked him, and this is why I think I was gonna say people have like a recent bias after just what he did to Parker. Everyone was saying Waldo was gonna knock Parker out, and then what Zhang did to Joyce, then everyone starts saying Parker has no chance. And I was on, I think I commented on the Boxing Insider podcast, I think it was last week, and they were all saying, I said Parker will make him look slow and I think silly late on. Zhang, they were saying is like very unlikely. Like I don't know. Like I think people don't look at the styles of these guys. Like cause Zhang, I thought that very slow feet, and that's where I thought Parker could capitalize. Because against Joyce, the reason I thought Joyce had a lot of success was his footwork against Parker. And we seen what happened when Joyce and Zhang fought. So I think all these guys, it's good if they all fight each other. But like, what would you say about one thing? If Fury is to beat Usyk, because Fury's resume now is looking quite bad. But what would you say that says about the division? If Fury say beats Usyk decisively and they knocks him out, I don't know, with a body shot or say it's a one-sided fight and Fury wins, does that take anything away, or does that just say on any given night any of these guys can get beaten?
Honestly, if Fury beats Usyk like that, it would just be, well, that's what should happen. I mean, he's going to be 60, 70 pounds heavier on fighting. I can't think of the math right now, but he's going to be significantly larger. He should be, on paper, he should beat Usyk. So if he dominates Usyk and beats him, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, that's what was supposed to happen. That's what I would say. The issue is if Fury beats Usyk, I think he retires. And what I'd love to see is if Fury beats Usyk, which is what should happen, I want to see him fight Joshua. I want to see Fury and Joshua for undisputed in London next year. I think that's the biggest fight in UK boxing history. It'll set records for attendance, live gates, and pay-per-view over there. It'll absolutely smash every record. That's what I want to see Fury do. I just don't know if he'd do that if he beats Usyk. I think he retires and walks away.
Yeah, no, I meant this vision of. I agree with what you said. I meant this vision of Fury, the one that struggled with Ngannou and got dropped. I know a lot of people would. Yeah, if that vision of Fury beats Usyk, like no, I'm saying the current vision of Fury right now. Like,
well, to be clear, in my opinion, the version of Fury that fought Ngannou would get embarrassed by Usyk. I don't think that guy's showing up against Usyk. I think it's going to be a much, much better. It's going to be the best Tyson Fury we have seen since the second Wilder fight. It's going to be that version of Tyson.
You know,
Fury.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. No, I was also going to say with the whole thing about this division is, I don't know about this Fury AJ fight will be big in the UK, but I think Usyk does deserve a lot of credit because Wilder, AJ, Fury, all of these guys could have become undisputed champion for one reason or another. Usyk has got himself in this position as a former cruiserweight champion, undisputed champion, and he's one fight away from becoming champion. So if he wins this, I think he's clearly, I think, the best fighter in the division. I don't know about a third fight between him and AJ. I don't know. Will people still want to see that? Like,
I don't think so.
Could sell.
Yeah, that's another.
I personally would have.
If Usyk beats Fury, he probably retires too, because who is there to fight after that? Because Wilder lost to Parker. Maybe Parker. That's it.
Yeah.
If Parker beat Zhang again, then maybe they can do that fight, and that's pretty much it. There's no one else to fight for Usyk. So, I don't know. Either way, I think both Usyk and Fury are going to be out of the sport by this time next year. Or by next summer.
37, and Fury's 35. I love these guys. What you said was true. Crawford, 36. Mike, before I go, I do want to touch on one thing, because boxing does get a bad rep with all these promoters, networks, and all that. But one thing I gotta say, like, with these cards, they are stacked, they are good, but you had a card that ran from 4 o'clock UK time till 12 in the UK, midnight. That's bad enough, but then they go into like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning in Saudi Arabia. Like, do we really need 10, 11 fights on a card? Like, if you can't pace the card like the UFC do, why can't they just cut the card and have less fights? And why do they need so many fights then? Because I was only interested in the top 3 fights and the Madrimov fight, I think, along with there may have been one more fight, but like, there were so many fights on that card that I had zero interest or didn't even bother watching. Like, and it just dragged the card on and on. It ended up being like, I remember between one of the fights, like 50 or 40-minute delay. Like,
yes,
and this frequently happens on the top rank cards as well.
Top Rank's the worst. They're the worst offender there. Actually, who does the best, Hamed, is PBC shows. I got TGB promotions with PBC. It's fight. They just boom, 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 boom. It's the best thing PBC does, in my opinion, is the pace of their shows in comparison to Top Rank and other promotions. Their fights go on a lot faster. I don't know what the issue is with these other guys, but I'm with you. You only need 6 or 7 fights. That's a full card, 6 or 7 fights, and 1 or 2 of those could be 10, 12 rounders. The rest could be 4 to 8 rounds. We don't need 8, 10 round fights. It's too much. But all right, I'm going to jump, man.
It's like Yeah, Mike. Before I go, like you were talking about football, soccer. That's only a 2-hour game. Like
2 hour.
this
Okay.
was an 8-hour, 9-hour card. Like that's way too long. But thanks for taking my call, Mike. I'll speak to you soon. All right.
Thanks a lot, man. Have a great weekend, brother.
All right, you too, man.
So, okay. So a soccer match is like 2 hours. Okay. Well, that just goes to my point, what I talked about before. Here in America, I want to say a baseball game, a football game, you're talking like 3 hours. Soccer match, you're talking a couple hours. So a fight card really should not go more than 3 or 4 hours. When you have an 8-hour fight card, it's just too much. And these top rank shows that like on ESPN, they'll have like a 3-4 hour broadcast, but there's like 3 fights. It just, guys, you got to clean it up with the pacing. Listen, it's the 21st century and everything's fast, right? Attention span is squirrelish in the 2020s. Okay. So like you got to get it going. Yeah. All right. Super chat from Sarah Lashak. So much. Thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate it. And we got another one from Aaron Gorman. Thank you so much, Aaron. He says, yo, Mike, I love you. I should be giving you the news I've been waiting forever in the next few months. Aaron, down there in Aussie land, are you going to Lomachenko Kambosos? Are you going to that one? Because I figure that's going to be a big, big show with a big crowd. I hope you got tickets to that one, my man. I hope you guys are going and you have a good time. You'll have to report back if you do go and let us know how it is. You'll have to send me some pictures. We got another one from Aaron. Thank you again, Aaron. Thank you so much. He says, Mike, why did Parker lose to Dillian White? You know how and why? He did a lot of cocaine. Look, I like Joseph Parker. I've spent time with him. He's a cool guy, but he's a partier. He likes to hang out with Tyson Fury. Just do the math, okay? He was doing a lot of that kind of stuff around that time. After the loss to Joshua, that was his first substantial payday. He got a good payday against Andy Ruiz when he won the title, but against AJ, he got a big payday. And he signed a big contract right there, and he kind of went a little nuts for a while. He's cleaned that shit up, okay? But that's how. This version of him, this active, concentrated, focused version of him, I don't think he loses to Dillian White. I really, truly don't. Okay, guys, we're going to take one more call. We're going to go back to the UK, and we're going to go to 782.
Hey, Mike.
What's up?
Hey, Mike. It's Pat. How are you doing? You're right.
Pat, what's up, man? How you doing, brother?
I've lost my voice. I've done a lot of shouting at the boxing tonight when I was in the bar. I tell you, Mike, now look, I knew I said Parker was going to stop him, right? And I got that bit wrong. But I don't know what you thought. Maybe tomorrow when I sober up and I watch it back in the light of day, I think Parker made that way, way harder on himself than he needed to. I was worried because from round one on, I said to my mate that was with me, I said, Mike, it was also called Michael, by the way. I said, Mike, he's standing square on in front of Zhang, and that is a disaster waiting to happen. I couldn't understand why he wasn't constantly going to the right. He was walking. I know he had good head movement, Mike, but he was walking towards him and in and out a bit. And when that third round came and Zhang cracked him, I thought, well, you knew that was going to happen because it was a clumsy approach. I mean, I don't want to be an armchair expert, Mike, but you know that he was walking. Did you not think he was walking into the direction of that left hand?
Yeah, he looked stiff early on. I don't know if he was just cold or whatever. I'm not sure what it was, but he looked stiff, and you were right. He was right in front of him. Yeah.
It did, and the other thing was that the mistake. And look, I know people like the novelty of Zhang being 40 years old and the job he did on Joyce, but the issue that Zhang created for himself, every time Parker hit him with anything decent, he would spend too much time trying to make it look as if he hadn't hurt him. The judges are seeing that, Mike.
Yeah.
You know, the judges are, you're pretty much acknowledging the fact that the guy hit you with a good shot. That's okay to do it once or twice, Mike. But, you know, when you do that, you know, from the 5th round onwards, and like you say, the rounds, as the rounds went by, it went as the plan would be. And from round 11 to 12, Parker, you know, he'd won it at that point. Now, the rounds that Zhang won, I thought he won in real good form, but the rest of them, he wasn't doing enough, Mike. I don't think he was doing enough. And all these comments the comments that you've made, and Fad and the other gentleman, Nacho, about the length of these shows. My wife said to me tonight, "Why don't you just stay in the house and watch the fight?" I said, "Look, I'm not paying to watch it in the house when I can go to the bar with my friends and watch in the pub." And if I asked my wife to sit from 7 p.m., which is when I started watching the show, or 8 p.m., to midnight, my wife is a badass attorney, Mike. She'd throw me in jail if I tried to make her sit and watch that. Like, you can't expect, you know, it goes on way too long. That I don't know about anybody else, but in terms of Ngannou, I actually, in a strange way, I kind of felt sorry for him after that, because I think so many people had put such a pressure on him since that Fury fight. And you hear, like you said earlier on, you hear all the UFC fans making the comparisons again. And, you know, for Joshua to dispatch him in the fashion that he did, with just a few basic, you know, I mean, it was brilliant at what he did, but these were moves that you've seen Joshua do before. Yes. I mean, like trying to go southpaw against Joshua to make it seem like you're going to confuse him. He just fought a southpaw. He just fought wowing, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
You know, I just thought that was. I thought that it was not. I think after that second knockdown, yeah, you know, that you could have maybe got close to stopping it there. And the third one, that was it. It was game over. And I feel sorry for Ngannou getting humiliated like that, but they're different disciplines. I mean, my friend that I was watching it with, Mike, he's as UFC as you could get. And even he said they're different disciplines. They don't breathe the same in the ring. They don't walk. They don't move the same. And he said to me, he says, if Frances Ngannou got him in a UFC cage, he would pull his shoulder out of his socket. I said, but we're not in a UFC cage. We're in a boxing ring. And he's not going to beat a boxer. It's just not going to happen. Exactly. But no, great night of fights, Mike. Great night of fights. I know you're coming to the end. I'll let you go. You're going to put up another show next week, Mike? You're gonna put something on?
If I could get some time, if the girls will give me some time, then I promise I will. I promise.
Right. Well, look. Well, you enjoy your wedding tomorrow, Mike. Great, and God bless you. Yeah.
Thank you, Pat. You too, brother. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, man.
See you soon.
We'll talk soon. Okay.
All right. Take care.
All right. Ciao.
Bye bye.
All right, guys. We're gonna wrap it up here. Great stuff from Pat. And he's right. You know, Parker was kind of stiff and standing, and I think Chad mentioned this earlier too. Parker was kind of standing in front of Zhang, but he did loosen up. He started moving his head and moving side to side, and that movement gave Zhang problems. Also, the body work. Let's not forget about the body work. Parker did go to the body, and I think he'll do more of that in the rematch. And I think that's another point that Chad brought up too. So I do think we'll see that rematch. I'm looking forward to it. And overall tonight, guys, look, good card that level set a lot of things in the heavyweight division further. I feel vindicated with some of the things I've been saying over the last few years. There's more and more vindication with each coming month and year, which is great. But overall, great card. But man, we got to speed up the pace. You guys got to speed up the pace. This event could have been half the time. So whatever was going on, Figure it out and fix it. I love these shows that Turkey Al Sheik's putting on, but you got to cut that time in half, brother. And I know you listen to the show. Your Excellency, we love the shows you're putting on. Love the promos. But cut the show time in half. I'm telling you right now, as one of your customers, do that, and you got it, brother. Okay? All right, thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll do it again soon. I promise, as soon as I get some time. All right? See you at the fights.